And we're live.
Yes, we are.
Hello, everybody. Rylan said he was leading this. Just kidding. He's in charge of banners. That's what
Again, you do this to me every time, Zach. Every time.
I complain so much that they take away my banner privileges, but then they still have me be the one talking. I'm Zach. This is Ryland. Here to answer some questions, give you a little bit of updates on the world of immigration. Please feel free to throw down any questions you have. We're happy to be answering them. I'm going to be talking a little bit of stuff that Aaron may have covered last week. I don't really know what he talked about, so it might be the exact same thing. If so, I'm sorry. He probably said it better than I will, but I guess we'll see. But Ryland, you want to take it away?
Sure. This was kind of a slow week for immigration news, which is why Zach is talking about a topic we already talked about. Just kidding, Zach. No, you're completely original. You're gonna say completely new stuff. But I wanted to talk about a news story that came out on CBS from a former top official at the CDC that talked about how coronavirus was kind of used as just an excuse to expel, and is continuing to be used as an excuse to expel many people from the United States that have legitimate asylum claims. So Title 42, it's an executive power that is meant to be used for the safety of the general public, and it can be used in situations such as a pandemic. But back in March of 2020, the Trump administration had already been preparing, as you might not be surprised to hear, they were always trying to think of some way to get immigrants out of the country, to prevent new people from coming in, to close off the border in any way that they could. And so back in March of 2020, before coronavirus was very much a thing in the United States. I'm pretty sure I recall our former president saying that it would be nothing and that it would go away very quickly. The previous administration was already cooking up this use of Title 42 to shut down the border and send people back to wherever they may be coming from, and that is confirmed. There were rumors of this being the situation from CDC officials, but this has been confirmed by what her name was. Anne Schuchat. She was the second highest ranking official at the CDC until this spring. And now she is speaking to the presses and making it very clear that no, their information did not identify that immigrants that were trying to apply for asylum were a major risk for contributing to coronavirus in the United States, and that in fact this was just another opportunity to use immigrants as a scapegoat. And so she opposed the use of Title 42 under the guise of preventing the spread of a pandemic. She's a medical professional. She and the CDC at large has studied the effects of migration and the spread of disease associated with immigration and migration into the United States. So she was very informed of the possible risks, and she did not believe that it would be a very high risk. And so she said that they opposed it, but it was still used as a political tool to stop immigration into the United States. And as of now, it is continuing to be used by the Biden administration. There were rumors that it might have been started to wind down the use of the Title 42 excuse, but then there have been immigration issues at the border that have been in the media. So the Biden administration shied away from stopping the use of Title 42, even though it might not be a legitimate way to stop the spread of the disease. They still didn't want to wind down the use of it because of all the issues with Haitians being tackled at the border by people on horses, trying to escape terrible persecution in their home country. I mean, terrible political persecution and the conditions that have been exacerbated in Haiti by recent events. But the Biden administration still has just put their hands up and said they're not going to, or they are going to continue using the Title 42 to prevent people from coming into the United States. And since March of 2020, there have been 1.2 million expulsions under Title 42, which is an incredible amount of people to turn away for an illegitimate excuse that they are spreading a disease. And it just goes to show, I mean, oftentimes immigrants are the first scapegoat in any situation when it comes to any national story about safety or health or anything, whether or not the data actually aligns with immigrants causing safety issues or health issues. They are the first ones to be targeted. And this admission by Ms. Shuchat from the CDC just further shows that it's just going to be a continuing trend, unfortunately. And I hope, beyond hope, that someday in the future that will change, but that remains to be seen. Not a very happy topic today, and I think maybe, Zach, you have more unhappy news for us. But would you like to get started on that?
Sure. I like to think mine is slightly happy. It's not, I mean, it's not the happiest news in the world, but it's a step in the right direction.
Great.
So as everybody, or most people probably know, last Thursday was Veterans Day. So I believe that's what Aaron spoke about was various veterans issues. I'm kind of going to touch on the same thing. I have written about military naturalization in the past. I think it's a fascinating issue. I think it's a very interesting historical topic. It's something that's dated back to the Revolutionary War, and it's got I guess very interesting applications in modern immigration law. There's this difference between, I guess, how you would go through the naturalization process to get your citizenship in like a normal way, where you have your green card, you wait 5 years, and you apply for naturalization, have to meet all of these criteria, and then these other kind of like more fast track ways of getting your citizenship. In the military context, there's two kind of fast track ways of doing this. One's in peacetime, and then one is in a period of hostilities. And we have been in a period of hostility since September 11th, 2001. So right now we are in this period where if you are in the military, you can jump from being a non-immigrant, not even having permanent residency, all the way to being a citizen almost immediately. So I guess just first off, if you're in the military and you are not a citizen and you want to be, give us a call, because this is might be a way to just jump you to the front of the line and get you citizenship like you deserve. But I guess along those lines, there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of, I guess, there's just not a lot of knowledge about how this process works in the military in general. Recruiters think that as soon as somebody signs up for the military, they become citizens. Folks who are in the military who are not citizens think that because of their service, they have automatically gotten citizenship, and that's just not true. It's led to some pretty horrible consequences. A pretty widely reported one was the issue of deported veterans. So these are folks who have served the country as in active duty military service, who went through the entire process, honorably discharged, and then at the conclusion of that, they go off, live their lives thinking they're citizens, commit some crime down the road, and as a result of that crime are put into removal proceedings and are ultimately removed from the country or deported. So you have these folks who have sworn oaths to the Constitution to protect the United States, and they have been essentially put into exile because of that amounts to a lack of knowledge in the military community about how this specialized naturalization process works. This is, it's been a problem. It's a problem that Congress has kind of tried to solve. There's been bills introduced in the past to try to fix this, to repatriate people who have been deported who were veterans. We've seen some kind of like piecemeal solutions where a governor will pardon somebody who had a crime for, you know, for example, let's say you trafficked marijuana across state lines. I mean, first off, like, you could do that in Colorado if you were a U.S. citizen, not across state lines, but, you can traffic in marijuana and be totally fine if you were a citizen. But, if you're not, then you're deported immediately and are forever barred from coming back to the United States, despite your veteran status. So, there have been, cases where somebody has trafficked marijuana, has been convicted of that, and then have been deported, and they're not allowed to return forever because they have been deported for the commission of an aggravated felony. As a result, there's like I said, piecemeal solutions. Governors will issue pardons. There's every once in a while, people will wait out the amount of time that they have to wait before they're able to apply to re-enter the United States. But by and large, it's a huge issue. You've got these people who have sworn oaths, fought for the country, and are now in exile. On July 2nd, Secretary Mayorkas kind of put out this promise that he was going to fix this issue. He was going to work with the VA, USCIS, CBP, DHS as a whole was going to kind of tackle this issue and figure out some solutions. And last week I was giving a talk and I said, hey, this big promise was made, but we haven't seen anything come out of it in the months since. And in the meantime, people are still waiting on the other side of the border and are not able to come back despite this horrible travesty that's going on. The day after I said that, on Friday 12th, the day after Veterans Day, some guidance was issued that I believe is meant to, in large part, help deported veterans. It doesn't directly address the deported veterans, doesn't say deported veterans anywhere in it. You contrast that with the announcement where Mayorkas said, get the exact quote here, that DHS is committed to bringing back military service members, veterans, and their immediate family members who are unjustly removed. This policy memo doesn't say anything about unjust removals or anything like that, but it kind of, I guess, paves the way for more steps forward to help folks who have been unjustly removed. It makes it easier to naturalize from abroad. It allows for folks who apply for naturalization through military service to have their interviews at a port of entry rather than having to go into the United States to a USCIS office like you would typically do. It allows for different periods of service to qualify for what counts as honorable service. So let's say you served twice. Once you were discharged honorably, once you were discharged in some other fashion. That honorable service that counted in a different fashion would qualify you for this military naturalization. But in large part, it's, I think, meant to say, hey, we have folks who otherwise would qualify for naturalization, but who are outside the United States and are not allowed to come back into the United States. So here's a way for us to speed along the process and kind of take away some barriers for them. In my opinion, it doesn't go as far as it needs to, and it kind of misses the whole point of what makes deported veterans like such a big issue. When you apply for a naturalization, you have to show that you're a person of good moral character, and there's a period of time that the department looks at. Typically, it's 5 years. They'll look at your history the last 5 years. They do have the ability to go beyond that 5 years to say, okay, well, in the last 5 years you were, totally fine, but I see you have this conviction for manslaughter in, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or whatever. Probably a bad example, but they have the ability to look beyond the 5 years. With the military service, they look only for 1 year. So you ostensibly would say, okay, in the last year, did you do anything bad? No, come on in. But I suspect that deported veterans are still going to run into a lot of issues with, I guess, demonstrating that they are people of good moral character due to these criminal convictions that led to their ultimate removal. I mean, if you have committed an aggravated felony at any time, you're permanently barred from establishing your good moral character. So somebody like the person who trafficked in marijuana, like I mentioned, is not going to be able to establish their good moral character, and they're not going to be able to naturalize despite their whatever misinformation they were given, despite whatever kind of unjust policies ultimately led to their removal. So I guess, yeah, like I said, not the greatest news in the world, but it's a step in the right direction. It's if this is one of many things that's going to be coming out of the department, I'm overjoyed for it, because this is an issue that needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed by more than just press releases coming out and I guess governors kind of saying, okay, well, because I'm getting pushback on this issue, I'm going to issue a pardon on this particular individual so he can come back. We need more widespread policy changes. Congress is clearly not able to make those policy changes, despite bills being introduced, despite them being aware of these issues. They're just not doing anything about it. So I guess it kind of falls more squarely on the shoulders of the agency and Secretary Mayorkas in particular. So I hope to see more policy announcements come out. I hope that they will be more, I guess, generous than this particular one was. But this is helpful. I think it will help some people, and I'm glad to see it. So some veterans issues, some good news after I had a whole talk about how nothing's being done, and so maybe I should just keep saying that, and things will come out right after. Yeah. Anybody got questions on this? I mean, I see we have no questions at all, so this might be a quick stream here.
Just want to say you did a great job with that story, Zach.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan, and you did great on yours as well.
Thanks. I know.
You guys, I appreciate the back and forth with the commenters. So I think we're on Twitter now, and I feel like as soon as we went on Twitter, nobody asked me questions anymore. So maybe that's it. Maybe we need to stop going on Twitter.
No. Twitter's great. Everything about this is great. We get a lot of viewers after the fact, Zach. So
I'm just saying, I like the back and forth with the questions, and
it is nice.
Twitter just doesn't give me that.
We'll get back there. It's gonna happen. People are just they're focusing on the holidays coming up, so they're busy.
This is next one, or next Thursday's Thanksgiving, isn't it? So no stream next Thursday, but I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. I hope that if you're going to travel, you're safe, and have a great time with your families if you are. Hopefully this is a little bit more normal of a Thanksgiving than it was last year. But no questions, I suppose that's that.
Yeah, good point, Zach. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching. Enjoy your turkeys or whatever, your furkeys. What do you eat, Zach? Is it a tofurkey?
No, so we don't go the tofu.
Okay.
I'm vegan. That's just where this is coming from. He's teasing me about this. No, so we don't do like a replacement for something that you would normally have, because people are just going to be disappointed if you have a tofurkey. They'll be like, I just wish this was turkey. So we make our own kind of vegan Wellington. So it's you guys want this to become a recipe, Facebook Live, we can do this. And vegan recipes.
I think this should be your blog for the month. Put your recipe for the Orwellian. What'd you call it? Orwellian?
A Wellington. You've never heard of?
Oh, Wellington. Yes. Okay. Sounds delicious.
It is. And, I mean, in the end, for Thanksgiving, people just want the sides, and those are just various vegetables that you mash up, right? Or you roast them. So True. Thanksgiving's like 90% vegan anyways. You just have to change the turkey and you're there. So
see, this is why we need questions. This is why we need comments.
Because otherwise I start to go off on other things. But email me if you want a great vegan Wellington recipe, and I will send that over and incorporate that into your Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But besides that, before I go off on other things that don't have anything to do with immigration, I suppose we should sign off. And, hope everybody has a great weekend, and a great Thanksgiving.
Yes. Goodbye.